Tomorrow is Holocaust Remembrance Day, or Yom HaShoah on the Jewish calendar. It's an important opportunity to gather and mark the lives of the 6 million Jewish children, women, and men who died at the hands of the Nazis. And each year, a very special event in our area does exactly that. Joining me now is Esther Kutas, the Executive Director of the Philadelphia Holocaust Remembrance Foundation. Esther, thank you so much for taking the time with us this morning.
Thank you for inviting me.
Let's talk first about your annual Yellow Candle event. What do you want people to know about it?
The Yellow Candle Project is an international campaign to remember the 6 million Jewish victims of the Holocaust. And at this time of the year, thousands of global participants received a mail package that contains a yellow memorial candle, as well as an information card about a victim of the Holocaust who perished during that time. And we will be joining together with many other community partners over Zoom on Wednesday evening to commemorate this event, to have a meaningful program across the country, and to really remember those who perished during the Holocaust.
Yeah,
and we will light our candles together and to remember the victims.
Coming together. You know, I've long been in awe. We're showing pictures now of that memorial site at the Foundation's headquarters there in Center City. We talked before about how people could be enamored by it, and you just said it yourself. It's the first public memorial to the Holocaust in North America. Besides that, what's the significance of the special place?
You know, it is significant because it was brought together by the local Holocaust survivor community as well as other Jewish community members in Philadelphia. And it was a very lengthy process. They commissioned a Holocaust survivor artist by the name of Nathan Rappaport to create this beautiful bronze statue. And then in a very beautiful ceremony in 1964, it was erected at the head of the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. And since that time, the local Jewish community have annually commemorated the Holocaust around Yom HaShoah. In fact, this weekend, we had over 300 people commemorating together this event at the Holocaust Memorial Plaza. In 2018, the next generation of Holocaust survivor descendants got together to reimagine what can be done with this beautiful park surrounding the monument. And we brought a lot of more educational features and artifacts to the Holocaust Memorial Plaza to increase public education, so that we don't just gather there on the annual Yom HaShoah events, but that we use this site for students, visitors, and residents alike to think about the Holocaust and understand the key facts that were surrounding it.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about this. When talking about the Holocaust, we often hear the mantra, "May we never forget." That has to be especially poignant given the war in Ukraine, right?
Absolutely. So let me start by saying that our hearts go out to all of the Ukrainian civilians that are currently affected by this horrible war. And I know that the question very frequently arises whether what's happening there is war crimes or genocidal acts. And that's going to be really determined by a very lengthy legal process that will take international tribunals to determine. So it's not for me to say whether or not these are genocidal acts. But those of us who are Holocaust education professionals, we typically try to stay away from comparing acts of violence to the Holocaust unless it has specifically been established that it was a genocide that was taking place. And we do this so that we don't minimize the experience of the 6 million Jewish victims and other target groups that died during the Holocaust. However, I want to emphasize that in the case of Ukraine, what we really need to remember is that the road to genocide during the Holocaust was really complex, and it took over a decade to really unfold. And two key elements of this genocidal processes that took place was about controlling media and about creating a public enemy. And as you know, authoritarian leaders want to control everything, especially the way information is conveyed. And by centralizing the media and creating a public narrative, they suppress any dissent and they criminalize opposing views. And that is really what we are seeing in Russia today. Secondly, once the government is fully controlling the public narrative, they can create a notion that a group of people based on ethnicity, nationality, or religion is a public menace. So that's the creation of a public enemy. And that's also a parallel between the Holocaust and what we see under President Putin's regime in Russia, that they have created this notion of public enemy against Ukraine. So when we think about comprehensive Holocaust education, what we really want to underscore is that the road to concentration camps and the extermination of Jewish and other people was really long and complex, and that there were absolutely early warning signs. So as we look at Russia and Ukraine today, that is the lesson that we can pull from the Holocaust.
Yeah, unnerving parallels. Esther Kutas, thank you so much. The Executive Director of the Philadelphia Holocaust Remembrance Foundation. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. And for more information about the Holocaust Remembrance Day and everyone we feature here on NBC 10 News at 11 a.m., tap the NBC 10 app or head to NBC10.com/findit on 10.